DK's turn to ban.
Okay, at long last, guys, it is my pleasure to say welcome to the Red Bull Esports Champion League. This isn't the Red Bull Esports Champion League 2013, we are in 2014 now. I'm Baseskip here providing coverage on behalf of BTS. It's 4 days, 4 teams, $23,000 or the equivalent in prize money, and it's all happening, well, at a LAN event, effectively. So we're finally underway. We had a lot of delays, both to do with the fact that this is part of a larger event and to do with me and Winter being able to find the lobby, so we're finally underway. So of course, I'm Baseskip here providing coverage on behalf of Beyond the Summit, and as I said, Winter's going to be joining me. So Winter, how you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Yeah, doing pretty well. I'm really looking forward to this match. We saw Titan playing, over the course of the last couple of weeks in a couple of Chinese events, but they were playing from home, so there were issues with servers and ping and all that kind of thing, but this time around, they're at the event. It should be all even across the board, and I'm looking forward to seeing how they do. How about you?
Reserve time.
I worry about them. I think
Yeah?
they were using a different player for the last LAN event, so they weren't really practicing much with Miracle.
Yeah, and I mean, he's drafting for them now as well, so the team has shifted a little bit. And the one thing, I guess, before we get too much further, Winter, have you seen Titan playing sort of more conventional Dota since they've picked up Miracle, or is it pretty much, from what I've seen, it's pretty much only been Miracle Dota? He picks a Morphling or even a Mirana or the Naga, and he pretty much just split pushes the entire game. I haven't really seen him on any of the traditional carries, and I feel like that's a bit of a weakness for the team.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. That's his only playstyle, and you can say to a certain extent that it's the only playstyle that wins them games, but it's the same playstyle that makes the other 4 players unable to do their own thing because they have to give up so much space for him, and a lot of stuff have to be done basically to complement his specific playstyle. So the rest of the players can't really do what they would normally do in a normal game unless Miracle plays another type of fighting hero.
So do you have any insight? Is that all that Miracle can play, or is that all he wants to play?
5 seconds remaining.
I don't think "can play" is the correct word. It's like he's confident with that thing in particular. I'm pretty sure he can play any other stuff if he wants to.
But that doesn't really feel like it thinks that the split push strategies are working out. You contrast that against DK though. Over the course of the last couple of weeks, they've played all kinds of different strategies.
Everything.
We saw them pull out the Tiny Wisp in the final game. I guess you're better than anybody to give us a rundown of what kind of strats DK have been running recently.
Oh, they have been running basically most everything with Tiny,
Bristleback,
lane dominance. Yeah, Bristleback, lane dominance hero, Timbersaw, OD, standard carry draft with a Weaver, standard carry draft with a Mirana, aggressive tri-lane, everything they have done.
Yeah, offlane Venomancer.
Safe lane partner, even everything.
Yeah, they have that one strategy as well where they put burning on Nature's Prophet, so that they can put Ice mid and then put Mushi on the safe lane. So
it's specifically designed just to fit the Invoker into the playstyle.
Yeah,
because Mushi doesn't play Invoker, and they want to give Ice Invoker, and you can't play offlane Invoker because it doesn't work.
Yeah, it's not a thing. So the draft so far, nothing too surprising. DK are going to get rid of the Miracle Naga Siren because nobody wants to deal with that at the moment. Also going to end up getting rid of the Alchemist. Clockwork's going to sneak through after an Elder Titan and a Timbersaw ban. And I'm actually a little bit surprised to see the Elder Titan ban. He seems a little bit all over the place. Some drafts he makes it all the way through. Some teams prioritize him as first pick, first ban. What's your take, Winter?
Situational. I guess he got demoted to situational hero from a strong hero to a situational hero after the nerf to the radius of the spirit, where you can't really scout as effective as before. That was the main thing I feel for offlane Elder Titan to be helpful towards the solo mid, because you can always scout whether the supports are missing, whether the supports are pulling or smoke. The nerf on the vision was just a huge impact on him.
Yeah, so the Elder Titan definitely bumped down a little bit. DK just going to pick up the Visage and the
10
Bristleback, so
seconds
looking
remaining.
fairly active, fairly aggressive so far as
5
far as their
seconds
draft is
remaining.
concerned. Titan have got the Crystal Maiden, a support that we've seen a lot of recently, probably looking to roam around a little bit fairly
Dire
early,
team
if at all
ban.
possible. But so anything that you had particularly in mind coming into this series, Winter, about what strategy you thought either team would play? It is a best of 2, of course, so it's not a full best of 7. You can't have, there's not a million games to try things.
10
And it's pretty important
seconds
because
remaining.
all of the other competition in the round robin is pretty fierce as well.
5 seconds remaining.
I guess Titan will most likely, because they didn't practice. I know they didn't
Reserve
practice
time.
much from ACG after the ACG
Mhm.
until now. They didn't really practice much with Miracle, so I'm just
DK's turn
guessing
to
they will be
ban.
doing the same thing where the
Dire
4
team
protect
ban.
1, but the 1 will be a hero like a Morphling or a Naga Siren that can split push. I don't think
Mm.
he'll be picking something like a fighting carry like a Mirana or a Weaver. Maybe sometimes I saw them one of the games they played Storm against
Mhm.
Mineski
10
with Miracle, but
seconds
it wasn't
remaining.
very impressive.
Yeah, I've seen Miracle play Mirana, but
seconds
he
remaining.
just bought a Midas and split
Oh.
pushed anyway. So
And there's one more thing
yeah.
as well that changed. You can't really
Reserve
Helm of
time.
Dominator the creep and backdoor
Yeah.
now.
yeah.
It got removed.
Yeah, they didn't make a big deal about it. They were like fixed some backdoor protection problems, and yeah, that was the change. They weren't really explicit about it, but you can't use a Dominator to go and TP to the enemy.
It is actually a huge nerf to Miracle's playstyle because he prioritizes on that so much more than anyone else in the competitive scene.
Yeah, and Ohio as well, like on the Prophet as a part of that strategy. He makes a lot of
10
space,
seconds
and then they
remaining.
kind of rely on late game. Miracle on whoever he's got buys BOTs, they TP and they
Dire
dominate a
team
creep,
pick.
and then they go to work. So that does sort of neuter one part of the playstyle that they did have available. So drafts continued. Titan are a little bit worried about just a fast push from DK. They've got rid of the Dragon Knight and the Pugna, and DK just gonna get rid of the Nyx Assassin and the OD. So does that lead you any particular direction, or is it just like, yeah, we don't want to play against it?
I'm not particularly sure, but usually DK will
10
be looking to
seconds
have OD on Mushi, but taking out the OD means DK doesn't want to
5
go for
seconds
the lane
remaining.
dominance type of strategy. They currently have a Visage and a Bristleback, heroes that are very
Reserve time.
tough to kill, Visage and
5
Bristleback,
seconds
and a lot of
remaining.
damage over time. And these two heroes are very strong when they're 5-man, so I'm guessing DK will be looking towards a 5-man draft.
Yeah, and Titans seem a little bit confused. I don't think that they randomed that pick, but now they've completely run out of bonus time. So
Did they go on to 0? I
it
didn't
went.
pay attention.
I think it did go to 0. So, but the pick kind of makes sense. So, I don't know. We'll see. Maybe there's some technical issues or something going on. We'll figure it out with this one, I guess.
So Storm Spirit's gonna be the pickup.
10
Well,
seconds remaining.
I can understand that more since the OD will
Yeah.
prove to be a huge problem towards the
5
Storm Spirit in
seconds
the laning
remaining.
phase.
Yeah, and Titan don't really have a whole lot of lockdown for the Storm Spirit just yet, so they are just going to pick up the puck,
DK's turn to pick.
get a silence,
Ah.
get some reasonable way to deal with him. But they're a little bit light on damage right now. Lots of initiation with Clockwork and Puck, but I question a little bit how they're going to kill Bristleback, plus what I'm presuming is going to be another core for DK coming up. Yeah, going to
Yeah,
be the
it
Lifestealer.
is Tricore. Lifestealer,
Dire
Storm
team
Spirit, and
back.
Bristleback. They've run this before. A lot of the Chinese teams have been doing this very greedy. They don't go for Puck and Lifestealer anymore. Every time they go for Storm and Lifestealer and an off lane which is like Bristleback or Prophet, so greedy.
Semi-carry, kind
But
of.
yeah, but they make it work. If you don't
10
punish them,
seconds
it's gonna be
remaining.
so powerful. After 20 minutes, 15 to 15 minutes
5
onwards, it's gonna
seconds
be very
remaining.
powerful. And not to mention late game Tricore is so strong.
And Titan sit around scratching their heads a little bit more. They are just going to end up getting rid of the Rubik.
Doom.
Dire
Maybe they go
team
for
pick.
Doom because like Doom would be very good against the Bristleback, the Storm,
Mhm.
but they have to be run on like a position 4 jungling Doom.
Yeah.
It's greedy.
Yeah, well, it could work. I mean, DK's lineup is fairly greedy as well, but no, Titan actually going to end up going for the
DK's
Disruptor,
turn
so
to pick.
they want some more ways to deal with the Storm Spirit, gives them an additional silence. Long duration silences are fantastic against Lifestealer as well, but it's another hero that doesn't do a whole lot of damage. I mean, yes, Thunderstrike
Yeah.
did get buffed recently, but now it's pretty much all on the Luna to actually kill anybody as far as this game goes.
They have to make sure Miracle has a super good time. to start the
10
Luna.
seconds remaining.
I'm not sure what type of item builds will he go for. Like we've seen a lot of
5
very greedy
seconds
item builds,
remaining.
like from Eternal Envy, where he doesn't even build a blacking bar. He goes power trades Helm of Dominator
Reserve
into
time.
the Manta, skipping the BKB, so he farms very quick. And this game against the Storm, if you don't have a BKB, you're always going to be a potential target to him. Or you go on to your second option, which is get the Midas to be greedy that way. You have two options. Midas will be, you will be far weaker during the start, first 10 minutes, since you don't have much items to boost your hit points. So both builds have their pros and cons.
Yeah, I think we've also seen people recently doing Midas and Dominator if they have enough space, but I don't think there's
that's
going to
the
be an
greed.
opportunity. Yeah.
Greed to the next level, Midas and Helm of Dominator. Maybe he just goes for just BKB right off the bat and just take part in fights, participate in his team combat. But if he does that and the cause doesn't really try to fight on DK and they just farm, Luna would have a lot of trouble later.
Yeah, once
10
that BKB
seconds
starts to wear
remaining.
down, she's definitely looking pretty vulnerable. But I think you're right. I think Titan
5
maybe just needs to
seconds
go,
remaining.
okay, farm the Blink Dagger on the puck, farm the BKB on the Luna, use that as our timing, and then just pretty much go. I don't know if they're going to have an opportunity to drag it out that much later, but anyway, we're here. We're finally underway with this best of 2, so I guess we're going to quickly introduce the teams. It's DK versus Titan, and over on DK we've got Lanham on the Venomancer, Mushi is going to be on the Storm Spirit, we've got Burning handling the Lifestealer, ky.xy, while wandering down mid is going to be on the Bristleback, and Mamaya is going to be over on the Visage, looking to place some offlane wards to help out ky.xy a little bit.
They actually know he's coming to place the ward. They just ping that they want to go there as soon as possible because DK have done this like a couple of times already during the WPC Ace League.
Yeah, we saw.
He's placing in a different position. Wow, behind you.
Yeah. So,
Okay.
to my understanding, this is a LAN event, but it's also without booths. So
Yeah, without a booth.
everybody can hear everything,
Each other,
basically.
yeah.
30 seconds to battle.
And on the dire side, we have Titan, Net playing the Disruptor, Miracle will be on the Luna, starting with the boots yet again. I've seen him do this the last time. Xting will be playing the Crystal Maiden, ky.xy will be taking the Puck, Solo Mid, Ohio will be starting boots as well on his offlane Clockwork.
I think he pretty much always goes this build on the offlane Clockwork from what I've seen, and he makes
Yeah,
it
he does.
makes it work. He steals a lot of experience. He gets up in the faces of the supports, and I don't mind it. I think he's just worked out what he enjoys playing and does it every time.
Yeah, it's the only problem with this build is just in case if you get a 1 versus 1 matchup, you would rather have the Stout Shield. That's all.
Yeah, it doesn't prepare you that well for 1v1. It's the same kind of story as Elder Titan. You know, you go boots and 2 clarities, and then it turns out that it's a 1v1, and you're like, well, okay, I don't know what I'm doing now, but
It's not so bad for the Prophet nowadays. Everyone starts boots with the Prophet, but I would say to a certain extent, Prophet actually doesn't suffer as much as a Clock with boots and an Elder Titan with boots.
yeah. Well, I mean, Clockworks, we'll see. Not typically, it doesn't need to rush straight towards Arcanes or Phase or something like that. I guess you compare that to the Prophet of the Elder Titan. Most Prophets these days are still going straight to Phase boots and then finishing off their Midas. So yeah, I don't think the boot first slows them down too much.
And for the Luna, starting with boots is generally mostly used.
For some reason, I muted my microphone, but there we go. So sorry about that. Yeah, stream just dropped for whatever reason. Was okay before. I streamed 6 hours or so this morning and made sure that everything was okay. And looks like now when it's crunch time, things get weird. But looks like we're still just paused for some technical issue at the moment, and yeah, I guess we'll get underway soon.
Australian internet, I feel you, bro.
Oh man, no. It sucks. Let's not go there. Let's just hope that everything is okay. And have the SEA servers been recently? Has it been a little bit better, or is it still really
Yeah,
bad?
it got fixed, but it's still like sometimes you don't get the animation, but you get to play. That's about it.
Okay, so
not gonna complain too much about that.
at least it's up.
Yeah. But if you look at the lanes base game, it's gonna be quite passive. Like everyone's just gonna go towards their safe lane, and in the long run, obviously we've been talking about this. DK have a tri-core in the long run, and Titan have two tempo controllers with a lone Luna that has to be the one to deal all the damage alone.
Yeah, it's going to be really tough for the Luna, and especially like Luna as a carry is pretty spell damage reliant, you know, during the early to mid game until she starts to grab up a couple of items. So it could become very, very difficult if DK get any kind of lead and manage to get a get a mech up on the Venomancer or the Visage, something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. After that, I don't know what kind of hope Titan have of actually killing anybody.
For me, it's like if DK wins the early game, they win the game because of the greediness of their draft. And if they get away with the early game even with a 50-50 break-even early game, I still think DK has a huge advantage going into the mid game. So it's going to be up to the clock and the puck to make something happen for Titan, especially for them to get a lead so that they can take down towers. Otherwise, if everything is just you farm your creeps, I farm my creeps, it's going to benefit DK a lot.
Yeah, and that's a little bit of a step outside of Titan's normal playbook. Normally they're the greedier lineup, normally they're the ones that are more willing to take it towards the late game, but not going to be the case this time around. So we'll see if they can adapt.
I guess they can only do that if Miracle is on Morphling or Miracle is on Naga. There's also one more hero he constantly does that with the Lycan, where he just hides and split pushes and he doesn't care about his base. Or actually, not to say doesn't care about his base, doesn't care about his team. His team will be fighting the enemy team and he'll be just hitting your base.
Yeah, he'll just
That's
be
what he
hitting
does.
buildings. Like Miracle is the ultimate version of objective-based Dota. I think he doesn't really mind too much.
Yeah.
If if it's a 4v5 team fight going on, if he's breaking through your tier 3s and your racks, he's pretty happy with the situation.
He's a very classic and good example towards new players coming into Dota. When someone asks me, what do you do in Dota to win the game, when a new player asks me, obviously just look at how Miracle plays.
Yeah.
He breaks your buildings and wins the game.
Yeah. So it looks like the players are a little bit frustrated at the moment with the pause. They're all having a little bit of fun spamming on the minimap.
They said that the light of the screen or something, there's kind of something like a spotlight that's on the PC that constantly reflects the light, so they can't look at the monitor or something.
Okay, so they're just trying to sort that out right
Yeah.
now. You think that they would be in the same location as whatever games were being played earlier, but I guess maybe they haven't had any 5v5 stuff.
Not very sure.
Yeah,
I think it's
who
like
knows?
a stage or something,
Okay.
if I remember correctly. Last time out the tournament was like a stage and there were 5 PCs on left, 5 PCs on the right. They were next to each other, so RTK could trash talk everyone.
Oh well, RTK getting that psychological advantage. So
Yeah, that's actually a very different way of messing around with your enemy during a LAN event. He just does stuff that is unpleasant, but it's a tournament. So
Look, it's-
he doesn't mean it in a bad way. It's just you do anything to win.
yeah, I mean if that's what it's going to take to give you a little bit of an edge, if the admins aren't going to specifically rule against it, then I don't see why not. It's the same thing with anything in-game. If there's some interaction, some mechanic that people think is broken but hasn't been fixed, then I think it's still, if Valve know about it, if Iceberg knows about it, it's up to them to fix it. It's not up to the teams to have to make decisions about, oh, should I do this thing even though I might be looked down in the eyes of the community. So well, we'll see how this goes. Extinct already roaming over towards mid on the Crystal Maiden. Level 1 smoke, but not going to do anything apparently.
He had the smoke up like very long ago. I don't know. Maybe it was a misclick. I'm not very sure. It was a very even if he got into position to gank the storm, it was a very difficult kill unless he came with a double damage or haste rune or something like that.
Yeah, I mean Puck doesn't have a whole lot of damage at level 1. Yes, ky.xy has a null talisman, but that's not going to guarantee you the kill at all. So Ohio just starting off, blocking some creeps over into the trees. He's going to pull the creep wave back underneath his tower to grab a little bit of extra farm. Lanham's just going to start off jungling up a little bit, running some pulls through, which looks like it's going to be fine. And Extinct, well, looks like he's going to start off doing a little bit of Crystal Maiden jungling. Nothing too surprising just yet.
When you look at the wards on the off lane for both teams, everyone has been doing this It's basically every time the offlane gets a secret ward somewhere, and it's very difficult to take the ward out, even if you know, because of the radius of the sentries, unless you are 100% sure precisely where the enemy planted the ward. Otherwise, you would waste your sentries.
And people don't place wards that have any giveaways. It's not like, oh, this camp is blocked, so it has to be somewhere around here. It's, this guy has a suspicious amount of vision. Where the heck do we deward him? So, yeah, it is a little bit difficult. And we were even talking about this a couple of weeks ago, where people were placing, I mean, I guess I can ping it. People were placing this ward over and over.
Yeah.
And then they started dewarding
Yeah.
that, so they moved it down to here
Yeah.
instead. Yeah, and then it
And
kept
there's one
moving
more here
around.
as well. There's one more here deeper into the jungle.
Yeah. So, not too much happening just yet. Both defensive tri lanes just kind of farming up for the time being. Looks like Mushi's going to duck over. Unfortunately, find some mud golems in the medium camp, so won't be getting the little bit of extra farm that he was looking for. And Ice. Looks like he'd like to run a pull through. Net's going to spot him out with this invis.
It's probably gonna try and pull the wave back. Right click the creeps. Yeah. Oh no.
Not too successful, but dire creeps coming as well. Ice is just going to grab onto those and try and drag them back to the tower, but everything ends up in a mess of aggro, and nobody. Well, looks like Titan are going to get the majority of it here.
Yeah, but the Luna actually has missed quite a number of last hits because the Bristleback was able to just mess around with him last hitting earlier. He knew that Crystal Maiden was not on the lane after the ward spotted the Maiden, made the rotation towards the jungle. So he was able to put some pressure on towards the Luna.
Yeah, and this is what your good offlaners like Ohio and Ice will always look to do. Just be as disruptive as possible. Slow down the enemy farm. Ice was great at it, I would say, back on the... Well, Ohio as well, on the Nature's Prophet, just continuously blocking camps. So Ohio actually going to eat a Gale on bottom lane. Burning's going to walk around. He's got the open wounds ready. It's already level 2. Ohio just going to go for the TP out. Soul Assumption damage, not quite enough. Nice TP from Ohio there.
Yeah, against a triple slow, he knew what exactly he was facing. Triple slow, enemy lane, just get a TP as an off lane. And once you get hit by one of the slows, if they continuously dive you, you just TP out and you'll be fine.
Yeah, looks like DK's setting up to try and go for this tower here, in fact. And not really anything that Titan can do to slow it down. They are going to pop their glyph, but that's about it. Ohio notably does always go the same build as well. He goes Power Cogs level 1, then 2 points in a Rocket Flare, and then he goes back to max out the Battery Assault as well, which does give him a little bit more lane pressure with the 2 Flare.
And for me, the main reason for that is because level 1 Rocket Flare is difficult to get last hits, and level 2 it's much more easier, and you can proceed to go back to your Battery Assault max later on. It somehow reduces your killing power at level 6 when you get your hook shot, but I don't really mind because most of the time it gives you that few extra last hits with the level 2 rocket.
Gets you a little bit of extra farm. I don't know if you've seen it, but does Ohio use Rocket Flare to block the small camp at all, or not really?
No, I don't think that way of playing the Cloud is actually very disruptive towards the supports. I rather power cogs the creep, slow it down, and just make sure you get levels yourself.
Yeah, you slow down the support farm a little bit, but it takes a lot of effort, and if you miss the timing, then, well, you're in some trouble.
And after the changes to the pool camp, I don't really think that's worth it anymore. Before, maybe it could be worth it, but not anymore now.
Yeah, supports aren't getting so much out of the pulls these days. I mean, like we've seen, the Crystal Maiden jungle became really popular as a way to deal with the fact that you couldn't just have a defensive tri-lane pulling all day. I would say that was probably the reason that Lich was so popular at the start of the patch as well. People just couldn't quite figure out how to adapt in terms of the lanes, and the easiest way was just to like pick Lich, run a duo lane mid, or run a duo lane on the off lane, and just call it a day.
Yeah, and Ohio was being pesky there, he blocked off the camp, so now the supports are either forced to protect the lanes or just go on towards smoking. But it's not easy to kill the puck with a Vino and a Visage, it's very difficult.
And Extinct and Net, they roam over towards mid. Mushi, however, has already reached level 6, so this is a pretty difficult gank. They have to get the silence down from ky.xy, otherwise they won't be able to grab it. And ky.xy, interestingly enough, actually has 3 points in Orb right now. I don't know if that's the right build against the Storm Spirit. Ohio's going to end up spotting out Mushi down by the rune. 600 Rune about to spawn. They've caught out Lanham underneath the tower, however, and First Blood is going to end up being drawn by ky.xy. But Ohio looks like he might not be able to escape. Mushi finds double damage, and won't be able to finish him off.
He was so greedy there. He tried to steal the rune, and the power cogs actually didn't knock Mushi back. He caught Mushi inside the rune itself, so he was just basically dead after that. with the DD being picked up by the Storm.
Yeah, Mushi picked it up, said thank you very much, and away he went. Titan did manage to grab that first blood at mid. As soon as they saw Mushi was down by the bottom rune, they were like, okay, just dive the supports under the tier 1, and actually ended up working out pretty well. So it's going to be treads up for ky.xy. And I guess going back to that thought before all the action happened, do you think this is the right build? 4 points Illusory Orb, only 1 point Waning Rift?
It really depends on the player's specific playstyle. For me, I've seen a lot of players like Feta, if up against a Storm, he would go for like 2 points in the AWP, and then at level 5 he would have 2 points in AWP, 2 points in Silence, and 1 point in Ultimate at level 6. So you have a better chance of killing the Storm, but doesn't really matter now. He's just going to focus a lot on farming. Like ky.xy just doesn't want to kill the Storm right now. Just wants to have the extra AWP damage to push out the lanes.
Yeah, push out the lane, give him a chance to go and get some runes. I don't think it's a big problem overall.
It depends really on just the personal preference. I wouldn't say which one is correct, which one is wrong. It's really up to the personal playstyle of the player and whether the supports come and roam and gank for you.
Yeah, so Titan, we saw an early move happen. Well, we had that failed smoke gank at level 1 as well. But I feel like the pace of the game, again, we talked about it, it's a tri-core for DK, and things are still looking all right. Miracle is just going to be going phase boots straight into BKB, so they are looking for that BKB and Blink Dagger up timing to start going and doing things. But I don't think DK are being too greedy themselves. Yeah, Burning's not working on a Midas or anything like that. He's just heading in towards his armlet right now, and Ice looks like he's working on a mech. So DK are prepared for Titan going down this road.
Yeah, it's definitely, I feel, the right option not to go for a Midas on the Lifestealer. They need to be able to have items to fight, because Titan are the ones under the pressure to be the white pieces this game. They have to be the white pieces, the team that makes the first move. So DK just has to respond, and having a Midas slows down your response. So not getting a Midas means you can fight and farm at the same time.
Yeah, and DK are getting a lot out of all 3 lanes right now. Ice is actually just kind of hanging over by the Ancients. Might consider stacking it over the cliff, but looks like they're actually going to be bringing Landham up towards top lane to try and hold on to this tier 1.
Ohio made a really smart play at bottom just now. When the Puck and the Disruptor was missing on the map, Luna was alone at top. He was so aggressive on the lane, he just came out, even though there was vision of DK seeing the Clockwork was alone, but they were worried that Puck and the Disruptor were smoked up. So they were all behind Burning, they were just waiting and waiting, but actually they were at top, the Disruptor and the Puck. So it's just a nice way of Ohio messing around with the minds of the enemy team.
Yeah, taking advantage of the information that DK had available, and it just goes to show that Ohio is really putting some thought into this game at all times. So he's going to stack up some Ancients right now, so they're preparing a little bit of a stack later on for Miracle. We've got Net and ky.xy actually smoked up on top lane. They've just popped this smoke as well, so we'll see where they end up heading. Net is actually level 5 at the moment, 3 points in Glimpse, and they might be able to get Lana mid. We'll have to see.
Yeah, Lanham is just using the time that the Storm is going for jungling now to just catch up middle, and he's going to be holding the lane with his wards. It's just typically how a support Vino will play. During the time where the solo mid hero is off trying to farm jungle or trying to gank, the Vino will just be replacing his role in the mid lane, pushing the wave out without fear because like the range of the wards. ky.xy is going to spot out Ice in the jungle, in the river. Not going to do too much. The rune is going to be taken by Mushi. Double damage yet again.
Another double damage for him. ky.xy just going to orb over the cliff there and escape. Doesn't want to man-fight the Bristleback. And Titan, they're trying to make plays happen. We've seen 3 smokes used so far, but not a whole lot has come to fruition. Miracle's actually going to be pulled off the lane. And looks like Titan want to try and make something happen mid. They don't have level 6 up on the Clockwork just yet. So if they're going to go for this, it's all up to the Puck to be able to initiate. And we'll see what they're going to be able to do here.
I think this is a little bit too soon because they need the dagger on the Puck to be able to take out the pest on the lane, the Vino. He's just standing behind placing wards, and you can't make a play when that happens. The Vino is just basically making sure the whole game is stalling. Everything is in, like, the lane won't be pushed down and you can't pressure the tower. He's stalling the whole game tempo for his tri-core to farm, and without a smoke or without a blink on the Puck, they can't upset the balance of the Vino holding everything.
Burning is inside a creep. He's gonna pop out and say hello to ky.xy. Next level plays from Burning. He TP'd in, jumped inside the creep, waited until the creep wave got to the tower, and then he popped out. Wow.
The Puck used his ult as well. That's why he died.
Dire's bottom tower
Well,
has
you wouldn't
fallen.
expect it, right? You're like, well, if the lifestealer's
No.
ganking us, Mushi's bottom lane. He's just farming. How can they come and kill us? But really nicely
This
played by
is-
Burning, and I'm sad I didn't
This
catch
is
that
very,
earlier.
very similar to the Clockwork using the advantage of the enemy team not knowing where the supports are. And this one is like
It's mind
the
games.
Lifestealer
Winter.
is using.
Oh, Mushi gonna
Mushi's
eat.
gonna get caught.
He's gonna walk out of the kinetic field, roll away. Is he gonna be brought back? Yes, but still has plenty of mana to be able to zip. Ohio still the level 6, won't be able to chase with the hook shot. And Titan TP everybody in here. Will they at least be able to get some familiars out of the deal? Will be able to, but ky.xy meanwhile pressuring mid, and he's gonna be forcing Titan to deal with him. Burning doing the same thing topside.
Well, ky.xy has his mecha already. He's
Wow.
gonna have his mecha in like Tangle. 12 minutes off lane, Bristleback with no kills has a whole mecha and power trades.
How many creeps does he have? He has 48 CS. I don't think he was farming ancients or anything
it
during
was
all this
on
time.
the lane. It
Yeah.
was all on the lane. Thanks to the ward
Dire's
on the
top
side, where
tower
always
is under
they
attack.
knew where the Crystal Maiden was, so the Bristleback was able to take safe creeps. And if you compare the Clockwork and the Bristleback, that's the huge difference in the game right now.
Yeah, the Clockwork just has very little. Ohio, again, still not quite level 6. And these crucial timings for Titan are really falling behind. ky.xy still doesn't have his Blink Dagger up. DK looks like they're going to be able to get a tier 1 tower for free on top lane. Burning going to snag that one, and
Dire's
this
top
is not
tower
looking very
has
good for
fallen.
Titan
Yeah.
right now.
This is really, really, really bad for them. They are currently 5,000 gold behind, 5,000 experience behind. Like I said, if DK wins the early game by some, not even the greatest margin, but as long as they win the early game, they basically already won the game. If Titan doesn't do anything to counteract that.
Yeah, and we were a little bit worried about, a fast mech up on somebody on DK causing some problems for Titan actually killing anybody, and I guess we're gonna have to see if that becomes the
Dire's
case.
middle
Titan are gonna
tower
have
is
the
under
BKB and the
attack.
Blink Dagger soon, but not as quickly as they would hope, and they're still just kind of milling
Yeah.
around 5-man on the bottom side of the map to try and secure this stack, but with only 1 point in Glaive, it's gonna take Merkel a while.
The most important thing they had to have is 3 things: level 6 on Clock,
Dire's top
Dagger on
tower
Puck,
is
and
under
BKB on
attack.
Luna. Currently, BKB on Luna is almost completed.
Dire's
Puck
middle
is
tower has
400 gold
fallen.
away from the Dagger. Clock has his level 6 right now, but it's considerably slow since the Clock didn't have a great time and Puck died to... It was all because of the lifestealer gank in the creep that slowed his Dagger down. Otherwise, he would have had it by now.
Yeah, it's in a game this close and this early game, it all comes down to the little things. And the Venomancer slowing the pace of the game as well. It's been a real problem for Titan. They still haven't been able to take a tier 1 despite having a Luna on their lineup. And to finish those items, they've started giving away objectives. They're not willing to take a team fight at this point. So once the BKB, Blink, and level 6 are up, they pretty much have to win 2 fights back to back and get some tier 1s if they're still going to be in this.
Yeah, and Burning completes the
Dire's
drum.
top
He has
tower
drum and
is
outlet
under
now.
attack.
Mushi's gonna be the mode of transportation for him right now. This time they are for real with the storm, not hiding in the creeps. So maybe if Titan gets caught out this time out, this will be like one of the nail in the coffins to their lineup already. If they get ganked right now, especially on the Luna.
Yeah,
Luna just
MMY...
got BKB.
Okay, yeah. MMY still bottom lane, so I don't know if DK are gonna go for anything here. Titan still moving around as 5, a little bit of dewarding going on. And Mamaya actually bought up a first item for staff here, so even he's managed to get some really good farm. DK have just
Wow.
been really efficient with how they've moved around the map.
He is so farm.
Yeah, well I
Oh,
think like Burning was, off ganking the Puck and jungling, and Mushi was kind of jungling as well, so both of the supports on DK actually have over 3k net worth, and you compare that to Titan, both supports under 2k right now.
Wow, those two are just very rich. The Vino got a lot of farm on the middle lane, but I didn't expect the Visage to be so farm as well.
Yeah, and
Dire's
Titan are just
middle
moving
tower
around
is
as a
under
death
attack.
ball, and DK, they
Yeah.
pop up 2 heroes in a lane, they push it out, they retreat back into the fog. Meanwhile, in another lane, 2
Dire's
heroes pop
bottom
up, they
tower
push
is
the
under
lane to the
attack.
tower, they disappear back into the fog. And Titan just can't find anyone right now. They've got the BKB, they've got the Blink Dagger. And this is where they'd like to be looking for a smoke, but
Dire's
the
bottom
lanes
tower
just aren't
is
really in
under attack.
position. DK are
Yeah.
playing perfect split
Dire's
push Dota right
structures
now.
are
DK are
fortified.
playing this scenario very, very well, using the fact that having Storm on your
Dire's
team
top
is
tower
the
is
enemy
under attack.
heroes can't move without any support. Whoever goes alone to try and defend a lane dies. And just look at how they are playing the game now. 2 top, like you said, and 3 heroes bottom. They're just splitting them up. Mushi is there revealing the smoke as well. Wow.
Oh, hookshot flies to the back of ky.xy. He blinks in, drops the coil. This is a lot invested just for the kill on Mamaya. Courier on the back lines. I don't know if Mushi spotted it. He will do soon. The tier 2s fall on top lane. Courier.
That was not worth it at all. One support for the smokes on so many heroes. And Mushi is still waiting in the wings here. Whoever goes back alone will just basically be spotted by a storm and will die for sure.
Yeah, Mushi gonna roll in right on top of Extinct, gonna try and burst him down. ky.xy gets the silence off. Familiar's coming in as well. ky.xy also gonna end up dropping Ohio on the run. Familiar stuns have already been used, but that's 2 really easy pickups for DK.
Radiant's bottom tower is
Such
under
patience
attack.
from Mushi there, waiting for the perfect moment. As soon as he saw the Luna teleport top, he knew that was his chance to just jump in and find a pickoff. That was just a very well played gank by Mushi, waiting for the right moment to strike.
Yeah, and DK are just playing fantastically, not taking any engagements that they don't have to. They've slowed the pace of the game down. They've farmed up a 10k gold lead, almost a 7.5k experience lead, and Titan have still been unable to find that one team fight that they've been looking for all game long, and we're going to start looking towards a basher on the lifestealer, so even that BKB on the Luna doesn't feel that safe. It doesn't mean that she's necessarily going to get the full duration of her Eclipse off.
The Clockwork is level 6, he's the lowest level in among the 10 heroes. That just tells you the story of the reason the tempo of Titan was just significantly slowed down by that. And not to mention the gank on the park as well. But these were the 2 main reasons why they were unable to just look for a gank, look for a team fight.
Yeah, we saw that one moment where they all kind of grouped up towards mid and then realized that the Venomancer was just holding the lane by himself and they didn't have level 6 on the Clockwork, so... Yeah, this is not looking very good for Titan. They are going to split up a little bit, realizing that they're just getting starved to death right now, but DK are just going to finish up a couple more items and then probably make a go for it, I would guess, while continuing to look for pickoffs.
They don't even have to go for anything, to be honest. Like, they can just farm, but obviously you have to storm, you want to be aggressive.
Hookshot comes in bottom lane, but not going to connect on Burning. They are going to try and glimpse him back, but he's just going to rage straight out and be absolutely fine. And with that, Burning, even more space created, gets 4 heroes down to bottom lane, and that's just going to be an opportunity for, I think, Landon to go in and be a little bit cheeky, get some auto attacks down on the tier 2 mid.
Yeah, the ward, however, spotted the Infest and the smoke as well from the Storm and the Visage, so they know perfectly what DK is trying to do right now, and even though they know, I wouldn't feel that it's a really bad thing for DK. They have 2 heroes still farming the other 2 lanes.
Yeah, and we'll see if Titan can maybe lay a trap here, perhaps. Titan have moved a bunch of heroes over to the side. They're hoping for a jump in on top of Ohio, but Ohio's playing this a little bit suspiciously. I mean, yes, there are heroes off the map. Yes, this isn't the most suspicious behavior, and they're going to get the zip in for Mushi. Ohio probably not going to survive this engagement with ky.xy. Jumps in, the familiar drops, hit him right as he leaps. He hasn't even managed to use the coil just yet. They haven't got anybody. They are going to be able to glimpse back Burning into the silence. They bring him down. Miracle pops the BKB. Mamaya on the run right now. That's the BKB and the Eclipse. Ends up being 1-for-1. Mushi's still over in the trees. And all the while, DK are just whittling away at the tier 2 tower mid as well. Lanham gonna eat a coil. Silence from ky.xy as well. Net here for some backup. Looks like Lanham is gonna end up dropping after all of this, but still not the worst trade for DK. Especially they got the BKB charge out of the Luna.
They bought a lot of time with the Vino ultimate. 3 heroes has to go back to base to regen, and they can't push out the lanes, and DK are just pushing the lanes now.
It's not the most kill-heavy Dota, admittedly, but DK have just been playing this very nicely. Mushi's back in the trees. He's got his Orchid finished. He spots Ohio, who wanted just a little bit of farm. Mushi actually going to end up missing the drag there, but it's not even going to matter. We'll still pick up the kill.
You had your warning.
They are just playing this on a very technical note. They're just doing everything correctly, even though there are no kills. But without kills, they are just extending their lead based on how they are supposed to play this game. It was a very technical and very well-taught game by DK.
Yeah, and I don't think you can't hold anything against them for this. The rest of the opponents in this competition are pretty tough, and it's also a bubble race format, I think, for the finals portion. So
after the playoffs.
Yeah,
after the group stages.
Yeah, every single placement matters a lot. Like second versus third, first versus second. Titan waiting up on the hill. Lanham's gonna end up throwing a ward up there. Spots out the Titan heroes. He's gonna eat a kinetic field. Looks like he's gonna end up taking a spill here, but DK still moving some heroes, and they get the drag back onto net. ky.xy trying to escape, but he's being silenced by Mushi as he focuses on somebody else. Looks like the Crystal Maiden is going to be able to get out. The only one not focused there. So Extinct gets a little bit of mercy from the DK side, but DK 2 for 1 ends up being the trade. They only lost their support Veno, and looks like this tier 2 about to fall on mid lane as well.
Yeah, this is just a very
Dire's middle tower
very
has
difficult
fallen.
game for Titan already now. After losing so badly, like after the early game, it was just so difficult for them to try and engage and do anything because Mushi just was always a constant threat around the map, and everyone needs to travel in a packs of 2, in a packs of 3. No one is safe, and that's just gonna greatly reduce everyone's farm. And like you said, the Reno and the Visage just made use of that factor to just be basically farming everywhere, farming the lanes, farming the jungle, and the Storm is creating too much pressure.
Yeah, and DK just did a really nice job in the draft as well, setting up for this Storm Spirit. I mean, the last couple of picks
Yeah, agreed.
from Titan were also largely influenced because they saw, oh crap, we don't have anything to deal with the Storm whatsoever. Better grab a puck, better, grab a little bit more lockdown, but all of the attention that they paid to the Storm Spirit is just made space for somebody on DK.
Yeah, once the Storm has BKB, it's over. They can't kill him. Once he has BKB.
Even
Like-
at this point, I don't know who they can kill. I mean, MMY is already pretty tanky, he has a point booster. Ice hasn't even had to use this mech just yet. He's also got a BKB, and now he's working
Wow.
towards even more hit points. Yeah, this is crazy.
They're just too far ahead. Like the disruptor is basically, I don't know about the disruptor. It sort of holds back their aggressiveness. If you have a disruptor, it's difficult to go aggressive early. You can't really try and take fights early on because disruptor needs a lot of levels.
Yeah, it was
Oh,
more
that is
control on top of a lineup that already had a lot. They're going to get the hook shot in. Mushi's going to be able to get his hands on the Aegis. Ice still alive for the time being. Static Storm going to work, but Burning and Ice just tanking through everything. Net's going to die up on the high ground. Miracle doing his best with the Eclipse. Mushi going to keep on farming. We're going to keep on fighting. He does have this Aegis up for a little bit longer. Miracle going to try and TP out, but still ends up dropping. 2 double kills go the way of DK. And Titan,
That's
they
game.
threw everything that they had into that.
That's game.
Yeah, that's game. They threw
That's-
everything they had, and it just killed one hero. Didn't even get the Aegis out of Mushi.
Yeah, the hook shot in was like, if you hook shot in like that, it just means that you have no other option and no other choice at all. Because if like they gave the Aegis away to DK, it's still gonna be a lost cause anyway. So might as well try. And they didn't. Even if they managed to steal the Aegis, I wouldn't have known if they were able to win the fight at the same time. So
Yeah. Especially if you've stolen it on the clockwork. He hookshots in, he drops a cog, he pops back up, and then maybe if he had his force staff finished, he would have been able to force staff out of the pit, but that's pretty much best case scenario. And DK didn't even have to use the Aegis there, so Landham's gonna end up salting the earth a little bit as he blocks out this big camp. And DK just gonna march down mid. Like you said, there's a BKB up on the Storm Spirit now, so honestly, good luck killing him. Ice has a Sange, and well, Burning, what's he got? Just the Basher completed, but I say that, and he's got 11k net worth, so probably the last fight of the game coming up.
it's impossible to kill Mushi right now unless Mushi makes a mistake. It's very difficult to get. How are you gonna kill him apart from the hook shot? If you hook shot, he zips in without his BKB. You hook shot, land on him, and you drop your spells on him. And that's the only way. Otherwise, BKB, he's just gonna wreck your whole team.
Stop it.
Yeah, there's no stopping Mushi, and not only
Yes.
do you have to deal with him, Burning's gonna pop out and say hello pretty much immediately as well. So DK has some great initiation. They've got a Veil of Discord up on Landham as well. The roll comes in for Mushi. The BKB is going to be used by Miracle in time. Mushi going to keep on rolling. Burning eats the backside of that hook, but Mushi with the BKB, unconcerned. Miracle below 50% just from right-click damage. The Veil of Discord's up on everybody. Ohio about to drop. Tries for a cheeky TP out like he went for on bottom lane for that first blood, but not going to be able to do so this time around. Net gets punched down by Ice with the BKB. Mushi's going to end up dying, but he's right back to the fight with the Aegis. Buyback from Miracle. Eclipse coming back up in 1 second's time, but DK just going to back off. Play for the objective. There is a glyph ready for Titan, so they maybe have one more fight up their sleeve, but DK haven't even used the Poison Nova yet. And they're just going to load up the
Yeah,
Infest Bomb
yeah.
one more time.
They're just gonna try and fight, but it's gonna be very bleak for them.
Dire's
Yeah, they
structures
use the glyph to get the
are
drag back onto Miracle. No BKB this time around. He gets forced out, but the Soul Assumption finishes him off. ky.xy on the retreat. Tries to get out. Will be able to orb and jaunt away to safety through the Soul Assumption, but another mech pops off from DK. They're going to glimpse Mamaya into a bit of an awkward position. Ohio is still just hanging around on the fringes, and Titan refusing to tap out
Dire's middle
at the
barracks
moment.
has
They're
fallen.
going to keep on going. Jump in from the backside from ky.xy. Really wants to try and kill off Burning. They're still alive. Armlet toggling to safety. Silence up on ky.xy. Ohio brought down by one more right click. And Net also going to end up being bashed and brought down. Double kill for Burning. Wicked 6 streak for Mamaya. And that's finally going to get the GG out of Titan.
Yeah, the main concern for this game for Titan was the play style that they chose to go for. It was just, they were under, right after the draft, they were just under a lot of pressure to do well in the early phase. And Disruptor is not a support that allows you to do very well in the early phase. He's more of a very safe support and a support that's very greedy. You need to take a lot of levels and a lot of farm. So it doesn't really synergize well with the draft. It synergizes well with the clockwork and the heroes and the puck, it's okay. But the problem is the playstyle and the general draft as a whole. They were under pressure to do well in the early phase, and having a disruptor just to boost your team fight is not something you want as your secondary support, in my opinion.
Yeah, and it's not like DK tried to disguise what they were doing either. They kind of opened up the draft a little bit greedily. They had the
Yeah.
Bristleback, they had the Visage. It was really obvious from the start, but
And the last pick, the Vino, was so good as well. The Vino, basically, at first glance, you look at their heroes, you thought, oh well, everyone has slows,
Yeah.
apart from the Storm Spirit Zip. But if you take a closer look in towards the strategy and the reasoning behind it, the Vino is just basically the support that puts everything together.
yeah, it just slowed the tempo of the game and really let DK, really let them take this win in the style that they did. So that's going to wrap it up for Game 1. We're of course going to be jumping back in for Game 2, DK versus Titan, coming up next. Not sure if there will be any delays, but of course I will keep you guys posted. So I'm Baseskip, he's Winter, and we hope to see you for the next game.